everybody, I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. We're going to end 2018 on the YouTube channel in style. On Thursday, I counted down 5 potentially overvalued players for 2019. Today, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do 5 players I think might be undervalued for next year. And I recognize, okay, it's a little clickbaity. We really don't know that much about 2019 yet. But I think especially today's list is kind of cool in that you can at least be in the mindset, maybe the numbers don't quite match up with the talent. Maybe there's going to be value there once we know what the market's going to do on these players sometime next year. Maybe you can look at them in Dynasty League. So I figure as a fun way to say thank you and end the 2018 season, let's do it. Let's count them down 5 through 1. At number 5, I have Cardinals receiver Christian Kirk, who to me began to announce his presence on a Week 1 punt return where I recall watching it and saying, okay, I really love the change of direction when he's up to speed, stop foot, go foot, as we call it. Now, it took a while. Kirk did make a couple big plays early in the year on blown coverages, but then he was getting red zone looks. He won a game in the red zone against the 49ers. We're not talking a huge kid, 5'11", 200 pounds, but coming out of college, I really liked him as sort of a potential Stephon Diggs kind of player. Folks seemed to suspect that he was only going to be a slot guy. In fact, played more on the outside as a rookie, and of course, had his season ended early by a broken foot. He'll be fine for 2019. No question, the Cardinals are terrible. They're just about the worst team in the league, and Josh Rosen has a lot to prove. I actually think, under the circumstances, Rosen at least proved he's an accurate thrower when he has time. More importantly, Christian Kirk looks like, if not a pure number 1 receiver, then maybe a 1.5, right? We'll see if Larry Fitzgerald retires. If he does, more work out of the slot for Kirk. I am bullish on him.
No scooch. 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 No scooch. Now that's a scooch.
Yeah.
No scooch. Scooch. No scooch. You need a scooch.
Yeah.
Okay, back at it with 5 value picks for 2019. At number 4, I have Naheem Hines. And I guess that stands to reason if I just had Marlon Mack as potentially overvalued in 2019. On Thursday's show, natural to view Hines as undervalued. Hines has caught 60 balls so far this year, hasn't made a bunch of big plays, but I think I can say, that's a surprise. This is an all-American track athlete, and in bursts, you can see that speed. You can see him running around linebackers who seem like they have good angles, and you can see how fast he is. Just hasn't turned into huge home run plays. I think that's bad luck. I think a kid who has sub 4.4 speed, he should take some long ones to the house. I think he will in 2019. Now, is Hines Tariq Cohen? Is he doing that smaller back thing of cutting on a dime? I don't see that. And maybe that winds up being a limiting factor. Maybe Hines will always be just the receiving back. And maybe the Colts sign Le'Veon Bell, and we can forget about all this choosing between the younger Indianapolis running backs. But it seems to me the NFL is moving toward players like Hines, maybe not as a full-time back, but as maybe the more reliable and higher upside member of a platoon. At number 3 on this list, a running back who'll be ranked higher, but someone I can conceivably imagine getting close to my first round in 2019. We've done a fair amount of film work on him on this channel, Dalvin Cook. You'll recall mid-season when he came back from his hamstring injury on top of the torn ACL recovery, I showed you film wondering whether his lateral quickness had returned. And then you'll also recall that in the most recent few games, I've shown you film where, to me, it had returned. And that's what I'm showing you here. I'm not saying that Dalvin Cook will ever be a dancing fool either, much like Naheem Hines. I'm not sure I see that. But Cook is an acceleration guy, a surprising power guy, and he has enough lateral quickness. I think he's back to looking like a home run hitter. It hasn't been a smooth ride for the Vikings offense with Kirk Cousins this year, but I feel better predicting that the future star that we saw that first month of 2017 before the ACL tear is going to really return in full strength next season, I'm going to be willing to value Cook as top 15 overall kind of player. Of course, I don't know what his ADP will be, and we won't know that for a while, but my guess is that there will be other running backs and wide receivers the market will view as safer. Okay, my number 2 is Brandon Cooks. I think you know I'm a pretty major Brandon Cooks supporter. Part of me is kind of hoping Cooks has a quiet Week 17. If he does, he'll end the season on a 7-game touchdown-less streak, 5 straight games under 100 yards. And, that way we can have all the wise guys all winter saying, well, that offense is key. It's clearly is Cooper Kupp. You have to have Cooper Kupp or it just doesn't work. And I think Kupp is a fine player, but I also think that statement is not true. Most importantly, this Brandon Cooks season looks like other Brandon Cooks seasons in all respects except one, touchdowns. And what we've been showing you here as I've been talking are highlights in which Brandon Cooks has been tackled or ruled down inside an opponent's 10-yard line. There have been 10 such plays so far in 2018. And that, my friends, is bad luck. You're getting the 80-catch season. You're getting the 1,200 yards from Brandon Cooks again this year. You're just getting an unlucky touchdown season, and that means I think we're going to go right back to the 7, 8, 9 touchdowns that we typically get from him once we're in 2019. To me, that means we'll be looking at getting Brandon Cooks at a value compared to where the market wants to price him. And at number 1, you've been watching this channel all year. You've been listening to the podcast all year. Who else is it going to be, people? It's Kenny Golladay. It's been a bad year for the Lions. It's been a terrible year for their offensive line, and thus for Stat Padford, also known as Matthew Stafford. Marvin Jones is going to be back from his knee injury. Kerryon Johnson will be back from his knee injury. I'm sure he'll be used a ton. He's a pretty good prospect. The offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, might not be back. But to me, I don't know, all that circumstance stuff seems incidental to what I think I've been seeing in dribs and drabs on film from Golladay, which is A.J. Green. Just sort of a great feel for being a number 1 receiver. Combination of size and speed and kind of when I think of A.J. Green, I think of a very silky smooth player, and I see some of that from Golladay as well. And remember, Galladay's still only 2 years into an NFL career that started very unheralded, right? We didn't know who Kenny Golladay was, most of us. He was coming out of a small school. And listen, I do think there's going to be Kenny Golladay hype next summer. So to view him as undervalued, I really must be saying, watch out, I'm going to value Kenny Golladay as like a top 15 receiver. And that is, in fact, the way I'm leaning right now. So much game film that I watch among all the players is just sort of indistinguishable. The players don't really stand out. Often it's just they got open on that play, or they ran a good route, but the defense made a mistake, or the quarterback made a great throw. But I don't see anything particularly special about the receiver who makes the play. To me, watching plays like we've shown you all year, here and throughout the YouTube channel, Golladay has the hallmarks of a talent who just stands out. Hasn't quite put it all together just yet, but when he does, I genuinely think he's going to be one of those total dominators. Now, of course, as I said, starting the show today, so much is going to change between now and when we have to start really drafting players, but you're in Dynasty Leagues out there, and I do like these players for Dynasty, and maybe they're worth trading for right now. I also admit my opinion might change depending on what happens in free agency, what happens in the NFL draft. So I understand this is maybe a little bit clickbaity. We're getting a very early jump, and my off-season content tends not to be quite so predictive heavy when we're this early in the preseason. But I thought it would be fun, a nice little reward here at the end of the season. Look ahead, take a look at your Dynasty roster, see what you think. Now, most of all, what I want to do is thank you, because you really did help us out. You subscribed. We got over 20,000 subscribers to this channel just in one season. We have great hopes for 2019. We're going to take a little break here, but we'll certainly be back with more great content going forward. And the biggest thanks of all actually has to go to celebrity producer Dave Piper. You all don't get to hear from him, but he's the hard worker on this channel. He puts it all together. So to Dave, thank you very much. And thank all of you as well. Hey, I want to hear your thoughts on the channel, on potentially your sleepers and busts for 2019. Put them down in the comments section. We would love to see them. I hope you have a very safe and healthy and happy new year, and we will see you in 2019. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.